Live.
Live. Check it out.
All right. How's it going, Blake? Hey, man. How's it going, Blake? I didn't know you went to the
What were you
opening straight
saying
away.
before the cool intro? Sorry, man. I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right, mate. It was a long day. We had a first grading after the COVID. We during COVID. We're still during, we're
Yeah,
in
COVID's still a
COVID.
thing. Yeah.
That was pretty quite experience, but yeah, we did grading today. That was good.
That's
So
great because it's life going on, and it's
yeah,
at some
mate.
point it has to. As long as we all stay responsible. That's good. That's good to know. What was the level of the grading? Was it Q done?
Up to third down today.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Well, congratulations to all the people that passed.
Yeah, even then they didn't pass, but that was the first step. I
Yeah,
wonder
yeah.
how long? 2 years?
Yeah, it's been a while since
It's
we've
been a
had.
while, mate. It's been a
Yeah,
while. They
yeah,
waited.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, honestly, but here we go. So it's happening. People are starting to get back into it. I know that there's lots of places in Europe that are getting back into training um,
Right.
pre-COVID type uh, ways. So that's cool for them, I
Yeah, a
guess.
lot of US too. A lot of people started. I think a lot of regional federations started degrading and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's good. How's New Zealand? How are you guys?
No, New Zealand's still a little bit touch and go, man. There's not a heck of a lot of training happening at the moment. We're still sort of trying to suppress and eliminate Delta, I think. But
Yeah, you gotta be careful. This
yeah,
Delta
a little bit.
stuff is not really fun.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Hiro, what are we talking about today, buddy?
Well, mate, we have a lot of. You left me alone
I
for
did.
like
Thank you for
2 weeks,
holding. I
bro.
meant to say it. Thank you for holding the fort. I'm
Mate,
sorry. I
they didn't
moved.
like me alone here, mate.
I
The
moved cities, which was a nightmare, but here we are, and I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm settled in.
I'm glad you're back, mate.
I brought my green screen with me, so we're good to go.
People like you here, mate.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Views are very low when I'm alone.
I'm what?
Views, the
Right.
view,
They're low.
the
They're
number of
low.
views, they're very
Yikes. Yeah.
low.
Let that go to my head. Hey, let's get on with talking about it so we don't waste these good people's time. What are we chatting about, buddy?
All right. Actually, I want you to talk about what types of learners out there. So you told me a while ago, about a few years ago, I think you told me there's a visual type of learners and blah 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 blah. Right? I
Yeah.
want you to go over those types again, and
Yeah.
so we all know what types are there out there, and yeah, probably your characteristics of these people today, so we can move on.
Sure, man. Oh, it's a really good question because it can help us hit a number of different people in the dojo, right? And one of the things that we have a bit of an assumption that we need to move past, I guess, is that everybody learns the same. So you're absolutely right, man. There's a nice little acronym that people that we can refer to that helps to recall and remember these learning styles. And one of them, well, the acronym itself is VARK, VARK. V standing for visual, A standing for audio or audial, and R standing for reading, and K standing for kinesthetic. So I'll work my way through those three. There it is, there up on the screen. Nice one. The first one, I'll put you back because my green
Or
screen's cut out and it makes it like, yeah, there you go. So the first one, visual, right? Would you
visual.
consider yourself a visual learner, Hiro?
What's that, mate? I wasn't what?
Oh my gosh. What am I talking to here? Would you consider yourself a visual learner?
I'm very visual.
Very visual.
Very visual.
So what does that mean to you? Do you have to see a demonstration or
I would like to copy.
oh
I
yeah.
just see it and I copy it. I'm more like, I don't remember strict names. I remember how it looks like and I drive
Yeah.
around. I'm that kind of a
Yeah.
person.
Yeah. And so people absolutely, and there'll be a lot of people, even our valued subscribers and viewers to this channel would attest to, when we need a little bit of information, a lot of the time what we do now is we go to YouTube, because there's some great productions out there using Doodly and other sorts of animation software to visually present a concept or an idea. And the fact that we can do the exact same thing in the dojo is really important to keep in mind. And it doesn't necessarily just mean, I'm sure this happens a lot, watching a demonstration, somebody who's more experienced or a similar grade here, whatever it is, somebody trying the skill, the sensei demonstrating it, we watch it and then we copy it. That's a visual way to take in information. But at the same time, and even more so now, and there'll be hundreds of people out there that have already done this, using YouTube videos as a platform or a framework to explain a concept while we were in lockdown, right? We couldn't get into the dojo. We couldn't do Keiko together. So instead, there's a lot of people saying, hey, check out this great video of Hachidan grading, or this awesome explanation from Alex Bennett Sensei, or something like that. Something that's a visual way to get the information helps us to learn. And so as we go back to the dojo, I think it's cool for instructors and coaches and sensei and what have you to keep encouraging that and saying, hey, before you come to training on Monday night, I want you to watch this video. And I want you to, and when we come, we're going to have a little chat about what it meant to you, or what you understood or what you didn't understand, or see if you can demonstrate it back to us, what you've seen, those sorts of things. So we're using that visual medium. So the next one on the list is audio, right? And now this is what we're doing here. And we see this time and time again on the internet. Again, we have podcasts, right? Audio books, those sorts of things. It lends itself to the sensei, like what I'm doing now, yapping away, explaining a concept or something like that. You don't necessarily have to watch my beautiful face explaining it and all the animations and things that I put together. You can just put it on in the background and you can listen. And that might be a way that you prefer to bring on board new information or information about a new concept, right? But at the same time, it doesn't it doesn't necessarily have to be through the coach explaining it. It could be through a discussion with other people in the dojo. It could be a discussion between a senpai or someone who's just one grade above you, or someone who's a grade below you, and talking it out and listening to other people's understandings of things really helps us to, I use this word a lot in my writing, but unpack, right? So unpack a concept. So I can say Kikentaichi is really important for a valid cut. What is Kikentaichi? Well, I think that the ki is about the spirit, and the ken is about the timing of the sword, and and if you start to unpack it rather than just leaving that concept on the table, it helps people to listen through the conversations and make sense of it in their own ways. So you've got the visual, then you've got the audio, right? Listening. The third one, the R there, it's actually got a double purpose. The R, as I said before, stands for reading, but it can also stand for, it's also used sometimes to describe writing. So when we read and write about a concept, we see this a lot at school, right? In English class or something like that. You go, right, read the book, write yourself a report, and then the teacher assesses your understanding based on that. It's not often, at least in my experience, that we see this medium or this approach happening in the dojo, because we have a tendency to prioritize, which is great, the actual doing of it, right? Rather than writing down what Kikentaichi means, we go and we practice it. So perhaps something like this lends itself to a little bit more of an in-depth concept. And if you, as a sensei or an instructor in your club, you want your members to really understand the concept of regi, or zanshin, or something with a little bit more meat and a little bit more depth, you can set a little task and say, well, look, if you're up to it, write down a couple of sentences on what you think it means, or here's a little excerpt from Kendo World magazine, a little article. Read this, and then when you come to the dojo next week, we'll talk about it. So, not everyone likes doing homework assignments, but if you get people to read the information, access it from one of the sources that are out there, and there are a few blogs and what have you out there now, but the Kendo World article is a brilliant example. Read that and then come back and let's talk about what that means to you. You know what I mean? So we're engaging our learners in a number of different ways, and importantly, not just through keko, but other ways. When they leave the dojo and they go home, in the car ride home or whatever, we've got them tasks where they use their cognitive function a little bit more than simply being told what to do and then trying to regurgitate it. Let's get them thinking a little bit more deeply about some of these things and drawing on the other ways. So then the fourth one, and this is me. So I asked you before, Hiro, are you a visual learner? You said absolutely 100% I am. I'm a kinesthetic. I prefer kinesthetic, and kinesthetic means doing, basically. So we're using our body to try all these things and learn more about it, right? So, and I think a lot of us and a lot of our students would probably be kinesthetic in a way as well. So, or prefer to learn kinesthetically is probably the better way to say it. So we say, all right, guys, we're going to do Kikentaichi. We go 4 forward, 5 back, Tari in the middle, right? I'll show you once. There's a visual. Now you go ahead and do it, and we'll adjust your footwork or adjust your arms or your angle as we go. And that's a way of kinesthetically helping people to learn a concept, right? Those are the 4. So you got visual, audio, written, and kinesthetic. Now, it's really important to say that the research that's been done on these learning styles or these learning preferences or however you want to term them, there's no research to say that any one of them is better than the other, right? So we can't say that visual is a superior way of learning, or kinesthetic is always going to be. That's just not the case. There's no empirical evidence to say that. But what we can say is that this is a helpful framework to create a little bit more diversity in your coaching style, right? So we all have preferences. So like your visual, I'm kinesthetic. Someone might be audio, someone might be written. The thing is that we've all got these sort of preferences. It doesn't necessarily, like I said, doesn't necessarily make it stronger or more effective, but we have these preferences. And so for a coach or an instructor to add a little bit more, like I said, diversity, or a little bit more sort of variety into the way that they present information, I think that you've got a really good sort of scope of people that you're able to reach. And I think that's what the important thing is, eh?
So, I think, if I want to dig deep on this topic, and I'm sure everyone here is kind of coaching position, and we have visual
audio, written,
audio,
yeah,
writing, reading.
Yeah.
What's the last one?
Kinesthetic. Yeah.
So we're gonna have to know. Okay, so as a coach, nothing is better than the other. Okay, so it's about learners, but then we have to, as a coach, we have to deal with those different types of people, students. So now it's a difficult. Probably, I'm a visual person, so I probably focus on look and learn, watch and learn. Maybe that's my method because I'm good at it. But I really think that I don't want to leave other students, behind. leave them
Exactly.
behind.
Yeah.
So how can we approach these people in this? We have limited time of training, and we have to approach to different types of students. So how
Yeah.
can we do that is the next question, but I don't think we can go over that today. So hey guys, if you're listening out there, I know you have same kind of questions. If you have your own approach to different people, you can share that with us. And then, Blake, he is a specialized in that, so he can give you advice as well. But leave us questions, and we want to know your questions so we can go over your questions, and probably after following, not next week, but following week. So after Blake talks about how we can deal with this different type of people in the same situation, like one training session. So please leave us. That's I want to know. I really want to know how can I approach these different people.
How
I
can you
have
cater for lots of different learning
right.
preferences, right?
Yeah, and then I am
Yeah.
a visual person. How can I teach, audio people? Because I'm visual. I don't know
Yeah.
what they want to know. They
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
hear. Reading, writing people. I don't know how I can approach them. How they can learn best.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah, I think
don't.
that's I think that's right, man. And it would be great to get people's ideas and questions about this put through below in the comments below, so that we can chat about those a little bit more detailed in the weeks to come. And as you say, next week, share a few ideas on what could be possible.
Yeah.
I will say one thing though, in terms of what can we do. This is always my go-to, but it's absolutely critical for this, is to actually talk to your learners and find out what they like. That's the first step. You know what I mean? Because as you say, Hiro, we have our own preferences, and it's the easiest. It's the path of least resistance. It's the easiest way if we coach in the way that we would like to be coached. We teach in the way that we would like to be taught, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. By and large, we're probably going to hit the mark with quite a few people on the floor. But if we really spend a little bit of time talking to our students or our athletes or our members about how they prefer to get their information and how they prefer to make sense of new information, that little bit of information for you as an instructor will pay dividends over the next course of their learning journey, because you can start to challenge yourself. You can start to think, okay, Hiro likes visual, but Bradley over there, he prefers to read some stuff, so I'm going to have to go and find something for him to read. And you start to really understand that the coaching role, or the sensei role, is not just a case of turning up and regurgitating what we already what we've done for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. We actually have to start thinking about what are the needs of the people standing in front of me, and how can I best serve them.
So, but is it probably important for coaches to know what type of learner they are first, too?
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right. Yeah,
That's the start. I think that's
Yep.
probably they have to know what type of they are, and then they should know how to approach to other people. Like other different types of people out there. So yeah, probably that's the thing we probably have to cover next week, or whatever we're gonna. I think it's very important. I know Ron Sensei is a coach, and Kurumabaka is a coach, and Zach is a coach too. So we probably should know how to really deal with these different types of students. VARK. So yeah, we're gonna talk about this next week as well. And yeah, I'm sure you will be here
I'll be
next
here, man.
week.
I'm not going back. I'm gonna stay
He
here.
is, he is back. You know, everyone likes you. They didn't like me alone.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, absolutely. But watch through the video again. The explanation that I said about the 4 different styles. Some of it might not be overly enlightening. Some of it might be sort of resonating with you. But understanding those, placing yourself in that framework. And again, I think it's important to say that we're not necessarily just one. You know, we can have a little bit of each, a little bit of each. I like to do it, but I also like to watch it, and I'll go straight to YouTube to get a better understanding as well before I start reading things or listening to podcasts, right? So we all have like elements of this in our preference, but to understand what kind of learners or what kind of preference we have for learning new information, as you say, Hiro, it's a great first step, and then we can start to understand that in the group of people that we're instructing or coaching or teaching, right?
Great. So we're going to talk about it next week. So you guys come back and stay tuned. And I think Ron Sensei has a good question and suggestion. So we're going to talk about it probably at the end of this, VARK lesson from.
How do you get the R in, Ron? That's a fabulous question. As I said, as I mentioned before, it could be as simple as finding an article or a blog that's been written out there that you thought, "Hang, this is exactly what I've been trying to get," or "This is exactly what Hiro and Blake are missing," and they actually, they should do a little bit of reading here and get them to do that homework. If you do want to spend a little bit of time in the training getting people to read, that's cool. If the environment lends itself to that, I think the dojo is typically a little bit noisy to do some meaningful reading, but I could be wrong. That's just me. But if they are inclined to, like reading information, new information to learn, if that's one of their preferences, then go for it. If it's not, don't worry about it, because it's not going to help necessarily in a way that perhaps watching a YouTube video would, or listening to Hiro and Blake on Kendo Clinic every week on Monday or Sunday, wherever you are. You know what I mean? Like it depends on what their preferences are. So we don't have to hit all of them all of the time. It just depends on what the preference is.
Right. So yeah, I know Ron Sensei is one, and you guys probably wonder how you can, let's say, how can you know, what type of those VRK or VRK, or your students are as well.
I'm going to have to do a visual video for you, Hiro, so you can learn this stuff. I know. I'm going to have to. I'll spell it out with YMCA style.
Yeah. I need visual. Yeah. So give us questions how we can recognize, or how can we know our students, how categorize them, or we're going to have a lot more things to talk about this topic. So throw us questions, and we're going to I'm not going to answer, he's going to answer the questions. So stay tuned, and I'll see you next week.
Yes, right? Indeedly. Thanks, Hiro. Right,
so you hit the end.
I'm gonna play the outro. Catch you next week, man.
All right, cheers, mate.